Whole offseason, they added some free agents. They went through the international draft. They went ahead and went through who they're going to go to arbitration with. And they did all this without a GM. Isn't that ironic that so close to spring training, they finally decide to who they're going to hire for their GM? And according to Mark Berman, it's the guy we all wanted, and that's Dana Brown. We'll talk about this on this special edition of the Locked On Astros podcast.
Alvarez, it's a high drive, center field. Veer leans back. This game is turned upside down. There's the runner, fly ball down the right field line. Tucker comes on. Kyle Tucker. This time they finish the job.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Stros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, we're going to go ahead and do another show later on, but I wanted to jump on and get my initial reaction and go ahead and get y'all's initial reaction. What do you think about Dana Brown coming to the Houston Astros? This is the guy we all wanted. This is who we wanted. But thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go and keep on subscribing. Go ahead and give us a like while you're at it and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out. And this episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon today to get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about Dana Brown. This is the guy that has, for the last 4 years, he's been basically the vice president of amateur scouting for the Braves. He's responsible for drafting 3 of the big guys for the Braves right now. Spencer Strider, he's a big pitcher. Then Vaughn Grissom, and also Michael Harris. Michael Harris won the rookie year last year, and then Spencer Strider finished second last year. So he was at the helm, or basically helping basically draft these guys. So what the Astros need to do is, yes, they've won. They've had a lot of success with what they're doing, but their farm system is at the bottom of the barrel. And so what they need to do is, now that they have some of these draft picks back and they have ability to draft, yes, they're drafting lower in the draft because of the success. They need to do a better job at evaluating talent and bringing in some talent. And that's where somebody like Brown does. He's 55 years old. He's a former player. He didn't really make it as a big league player, but he did play some minor league baseball. Then he went into the front office with the Phillies. So he has some history kind of in the front office. And then, so this is where he's comfortable with. So I think that he's been with the Braves. The Braves have been in the playoffs, kind of like the Astros for the past 5 years. So I think this is a good fit for the Astros, and they've been searching for a GM for 75 days. And Jim Crane said he was going to take his time, and he has. And it's kind of ironic. I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast that Jim Crane put on a poker face last night, and he said, "Oh yeah, we've narrowed it down, but he said we've interviewed a lot of people, but we don't have a timeline on this." Well, apparently, Dana Brown was coming to town today. And Jim Crane didn't want last night to be about Dana Brown. He wanted last night to be about the Houston award ceremony. And so props to Jim Crane for making that happen and not letting anything slip last night, because most people will be like, I'm actually hiring somebody tomorrow. Just don't let anybody know. But you have to remember, this guy is talking to playoffs. And Jalen says he lied last night. No, I don't think he lied. I think he just kind of twisted the truth a little bit. And he just basically said that, we've narrowed it down. And something else that we didn't get a chance to talk about is that he did interview internal candidates. That's Charles Cook and also Bill Furcus and also Andrew Ball. So he did interview some internal candidates. And I did see Bob Nightingale say that the second finalist was Brad Ausmus. So Jose de Jesus Ortiz was correct that Brad Ausmus was one of the candidates for the Astros GM. So take that for what you will. But I think that Dana Brown is going to do a great job at rebuilding the Astros farm system. And so I think that it means great. And he spent 9 seasons with the Braves as a special assistant to the general manager. He also spent some time as a director of scouting with the Nationals and Expos franchise in early 2000s. And so he also played baseball with Craig Biggio. And Craig Biggio is friends with Jeff Bagwell. And so I know Bagwell has a big ear of Jim Crane right now. So I'm sure that all this had some type of factor in it, but he has the experience. And I think that's what led to this. So I think that if you're looking at what the Astros need right now, they have a lot of talent locked up. They still need to lock up Kyle Tucker. Yes. They still need to lock up a couple other players. You have Christian Javier, then you have Framber Valdez, but you also need to rebuild. So that's something that the Astros need to focus on, but you got to do that by drafting better. And I know everybody was like, Mark Appel was a can't miss guy, and the Astros drafted him. I know that was years ago. And then the whole Brady Aiken debacle. So the Astros have had bad drafts, but also the Brady Aiken thing led to Alex Bregman. So that's one good thing. But so I think that what Brown can do is also help the Astros rebuild from the farm system. So I think there's a lot that's going to do. So this is what Brett had to say. This is a guy who keep the Astros on the up and up for the foreseeable future. Okay. Mario Jorge said, great hire. Crane always seems to make the right moves with the MLB roster set. His focus will be on restocking the minors, which is his expertise. Good way to say it. Then Jalen says, great hire. If he was one that scouted talent for the Braves, then he's going to do a great job in scouting talent and making moves for us in either trades or drafting. And keep in mind, the Astros are not just looking for talent for the Astros. If the Astros want to continue to compete, they want to have the talent pool to make trades. And so right now you have some talent like Corey Lee and Pedro Leon, even though he's going to miss some time with the hernia surgery, but you want to have the talent to make those trades. And you want to do that by restocking the farm system and without taking away from the future. And so if you want to have a better future, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are here, and we are really excited about our new sports betting partner for Locked On because they're great. They're the number one sports book in America, FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. New customers join today and get started with $150 and free bets guaranteed. When you place your first $5 bet, just sign up at fanduel.com/lockedon and just use the code locked on. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. Plus, you can even combine your bets for chances at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. So if you, with the Super Bowl coming up, if you want to make a bet there, if you want to talk about how many what does Brown do for the Astros? How many more wins does that help them get? That's something you can look at betting at FanDuel. So all on an app that's safe, secure, and easy to use. So football fans, don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet and to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, at fanduel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, so let's get back to some of y'all's comments. Astro Wolf Craig says, did anybody really think that Crane would hire Ausmus? Apparently he was second in the running. So yes, there was a lot of people talking that Ausmus was the guy. So if Dana Brown did not have all that experience as a scout, scouting person and bringing in talent, like the Braves are going to be a great team for a long time. Yeah, everybody's worried about the Phillies and what the Phillies did. They went all the way to the World Series last year. But the Braves are doing a great job of not just bringing in the talent, but they're locking up that talent. I believe they already extended Michael Harris already. They saw what type of talent he had, and they locked him up. So Spencer Strider, he's a great young talent as well. So I think that he's great. So let's see. Jalen says, hope he can rebuild the farm system. And Brett agreed with me earlier that Jim Crane didn't really lie. He just didn't tell the entire truth. And Michael Dunn said, woo, we got Dana Brown. And then what can Brown do for you? We'll see. I think that's Hunter Brown's line, but we'll go ahead and go with that. So should have gone and gotten Brad Osmus. I guess John Doe is a Brad Osmus fan there. But we'll see what happens. So here comes Mr. Corona brings up Stearns again. Okay, I know yesterday we didn't get a chance to talk about it on Locked on Astros since we didn't do a show last night, but Jim Crane did mention that he did not ask for permission to interview David Stearns. And so that means that he was not a candidate for this job. Does that mean after his contract runs up with the Brewers, could he come and become a special assistant to the Astros or the president of baseball operations with the Astros or something like that? Sure. It's really up to Stearns. Does he want to make that move and come back to the Astros? Is being with the Astros that appealing for him? So that's really up to David Stearns, because once he's a free agent, he can go anywhere else. So if he liked it in Houston, if he liked working for Jim Crane, then I'm sure he would want to come back. So we'll see. So let's go ahead and look at what else say. Dana Brown picked up Strider, Grissom, Harris, and a few prospects they used for the Matt Olson trade. Yeah. So that's what I mean. You don't just stock up the farm system for the guys like Christian Javier or just to bring them up that you need, but you got to also use players that you're going to trade away for, like Randy Johnson. Like some of those players we had to trade away for Randy Johnson. So that's the purpose for stocking up the farm system. It's two reasons: to have talent to trade away and have talent for where you need them. So yeah, it seems like most of baseball is excited about him. And the Astros said that this is what Jim Crane said: we are excited to have Dana join our organization. He brings championship caliber experience to our team and the right fit for us to continue to deliver a winning franchise on and off the field. We welcome Dana and his family to the Astros family. And so that's exactly what you're supposed to say. You're not supposed to say, oh, yeah, he was just our second choice. Brad Osmus didn't want to do it. So, yeah. I really think that if Brad Osmus was really in the mix, I really think that it was more for his links to Houston, maybe to Bagwell or something like that. But I think that there had to be some strong reasons for the whole Osmus thing. I just didn't get it myself, but that doesn't mean it's bad. So a little thing is, according to Bob Nightingale, the hiring of GM Dana Brown with Dusty Baker as the manager marks only the second time in MLB history that the team has a black GM and a black general manager at the same time. The only other instance was when the White Sox GM was Ken Williams and the manager was Jerry Manuel from 2000 to 2003. So that's also a cool little circumstance. And ironically, right now, Dana Brown is the only African American GM in baseball, and only the second only baseball executive in baseball with Ken Williams. So Ken Williams is still with the White Sox. He's the president of baseball operations. So it's just funny how yesterday Jim Crane was like, there's no timeline, and we've interviewed all these people, and then all of a sudden we have the person today. But the good thing is that he took his time. He wanted to get the right fit, and Dana Brown seems to be the right fit. And so I think that this is going to be good. And so I'm just looking else for what else we could talk about. Bob Nightingale says that the baseball fraternity is thrilled that the new Astros GM is Dana Brown, who's one of the nicest people you ever met. I know a lot of people did not like Jeff Luhnow. They thought he was a little cutthroat at times. But and I don't know James Click's personality. He seemed like a decent guy. But I think that maybe people will be a lot more willing to work with Dana Brown versus maybe Jeff Luhnow in the past. So we'll see what this means for the Astros going future. I know going into 2003, Dana Brown doesn't really have to do anything. Like David Perez says, okay, well, let's sign Yuli next. That's something we could discuss on tonight when Brett gets here on Locked On Astros tonight. But this was a great hire. It doesn't matter, like World Traveler says, this doesn't matter who the other candidates was. This was the guy I wanted the whole time. Dana Brown is just the guy with the experience. He's been in the front office for a while. He's been doing the scouting. I think he has the experience the Astros need. And so I don't know him personally other than that, but I just think that this is the right fit for the Houston Astros. And once we'll hear some more comes out later on, Brett and I will discuss it a little bit later on. But I just wanted to come on and just do a quick little thing, and we'll see what happened. Anybody else? Will Traveler says, I'll be happy. I'm happy with this job. And they were just throwing Bagwell a bone with the Osmus talk. I don't know if that was true. A lot of people are saying that he finished second. That's a little bit more than just throwing him a bone. But I really think that this is just a great job overall. And so we'll see what happens. And yes, as Jay Roberts says, this was great to get it done before spring training happened. I kind of wish they probably would have got it done a little bit sooner. Maybe you could have got some more free agents. Maybe if you had, but I think that the Astros assistant GMs did a great job, and Jim Crane did a good job kind of leading everything. But now we need to see what happens with the three assistant GMs. Do they stay this assistant GMs for the rest of the year? Then the Astros decide what happens from there, because they all had their roles. And I believe that Charles Cook was the guy that was kind of over the scouting role. And so I'm sure Cook will kind of help Brown kind of ease into like the scouting system. And I believe Ball was kind of over the financial side. And then baseball operations was probably Ferkus, but I don't know that for a fact. So, but I just know that the Astros have a good qualified guy now, and we'll see what he can do now. So we can wait. We can stop waiting and saying who's going to be the next Astros GM. And we'll talk about this later on the Locked On Astros podcast. Make sure you check us out. Make us your first listen every day. For myself, Brett Chancey, we are the Locked On Astros podcast, and we will see you later, and go Stros.